Bonjour tout le monde. Bienvenue à sur l'autre package EmoNews.
Welcome to another news package. I'm Rick Francis.
And I am Soada Benjamin. This is the news package for October 11th, 2025. In the headlines this evening,
DSC celebrates technical skills achievement.
JJ Fitness to host Pinktober Breast Cancer Awareness Walk.
Powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes Philippines.
Nobel Peace Prize goes to Maria Corina Machado, Venezuela's opposition leader.
The National 4-H Club hosted their award ceremony under the theme Learning by Doing to Make the Best Better.
And Israel and Hamas have finally reached a ceasefire agreement. These stories and more coming up.
Land of the bouillon, home of the nature island vibe, 3 nights of peace, one unforgettable flight, WCMF 2285, finish day for the view, Alma lives.
And up first in local news, DSC celebrates technical skills achievement. The Dominica State College, DSC, proudly hosted its technical short course certificate ceremony on October 8, 2025, honoring 25 male participants who successfully completed training between May and July 2025. Participants were awarded certificates in refrigeration and air conditioning, basic electricals, and basic welding, vital trades that continue to strengthen Dominica's skilled workforce. The ceremony included heartfelt testimonials from participants and a special presentation of a token of appreciation to one facilitator, recognized for his outstanding dedication and mentorship. Congratulations to all graduates. Your hard work, discipline, and commitment to excellence continue to inspire and uplift Dominica's technical community. The National 4-H Club Award ceremony was held at the State House today under the theme Celebrating Excellence, Cultivating Potential. At the ceremony, remarks were given by Ms. Letitia Lestrade Wyke, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth Affairs, Honorable Lakia Joseph, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, and Senator Oscar George, Minister of State in the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports. In his address, Senator Oscar George remarked that in a world filled with uncertainty, 4-H has always been there and is fitting to recognize those who have contributed.
This morning, we pause to recognize the exceptional accomplishments of all who contributed to the 4-H movement in Dominica. These persons and schools have all displayed incredible dedication, creativity, and pride in many important areas such as agriculture, environmental protection, public speaking, community service, just to name a few. Importantly, however, we are also gathered here not simply to hand out trophies and certificates, but to recognize the values that 4-H stands for, to think more clearly, compassion, to be more helpful, to live a healthier lifestyle. All these values of 4-H remain important now more than ever.
Brief remarks were made by Honorable Lakia Joseph also.
The 4-H Club is not just a school program, it's a movement. You are part of a generation that will redefine what agriculture means to Dominica. You are future agro-processors, scientists, researchers, engineers, and ministers who will take this sector beyond imagination. You are the ones who will blend the technology with tradition, innovation with integrity, and passion with purpose. As a parliamentary secretary and as a fellow youth in this field, I want you to know this. We believe in you. Your teachers, your guardians, the Ministry of Agriculture is building pathways for you. Training programs, grants, access to land and markets, because we see your potential and we are committed to nurturing it.
There was also a musical performance from the Convent High School, while the St. Martin Primary School did the 4-H pledge. A number of schools were awarded gold, silver, and bronze certificates for their participation in 4-H activities. Also in local news, the Combined Taxi Association successfully held its 2025 executive elections, resulting in a new leadership team to guide the organization forward. Election results: President Philip Gist with 66 votes, Bertin Celestin with 38 votes, Wilfred Peltier 7 votes, Vice President Reynold Alcindor with 85 votes, Wilfred Peltier 12 votes, Treasurer Oris Campbell unopposed, Assistant Secretary Treasurer Tony Charles 48 votes, Bertin Celestin 24 votes, Hazel Jean-Marie 21 votes, Public Relations Officer PRO Thomas Reiner 68 votes, Dorival James 25 votes, Secretary Majel Durand unopposed. The newly elected executive is expected to continue efforts to strengthen the association, improve member relations, and enhance taxi services across Dominica. And JJ Fitness will host its annual Pinktober Breast Cancer Awareness Walk tomorrow, Saturday, October 11th, as part of efforts to promote awareness and support for those affected by breast cancer. The charity walk will begin at the La Plaine bus stop and continue to Tabier, bringing together participants from across the community. Founder Julia Joseph is encouraging residents from the east and the southeast to come out and take part in the initiative, which highlights the importance of early detection and healthy living.
It's Pinktober once again in La Plaine in the East Coast, and JJ Fitness is hosting yet another breast cancer walk. Last year we walked from La Plaine to Bordico Gauche. This year we're making the walk a little shorter. We're walking from the La Plaine bus stop to Taberry. So Saturday 11 from 4 p.m. we got at the bus stop, we walked on to Taberry, and one of our health officials will address us on the importance of doing our self-checks and our yearly mammograms. So we're asking everyone to come on board. We want to show solidarity or be in solidarity with those who are battling breast cancer in our community and remembering those who have passed on. Bring a small donation. The firemen, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the teachers, the students. We're asking everyone to come on board. So we want to thank Big Edge for coming on this year as a sponsor, TNC Minimart, Super Value Enterprise, and the La Plaine Red Cross.
The Division of Agriculture's Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit and the Livestock Development Unit united members of the media to a press conference to share important information with the public on import requirements for seeds, fresh produce, and meats. Roy Humphreys gave a brief overview of what the quarantine unit is all about.
So the Plant Protection and Quarantine Service continues to safeguard Dominica's agricultural integrity and natural biodiversity through vigilant inspection and regulatory control of plants, plant products, and other regulated articles entering and leaving the country. The unit's operations are guided by international standards established by the International Plant Protection Convention, IPPC, and the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, ensuring that Dominica remains compliant with global phytosanitary requirements. An overview of our daily operations. Every day, quarantine officers conduct official inspections at ports of entry, export facilities, and postal centers to detect and prevent the introduction or spread of plant pests and diseases. Their work involves sampling consignments, inspecting cargo, vessels, aircraft, and verifying phytosanitary documentation in accordance with ISPM 5 and related international standards. These activities help ensure that agricultural trade is safe and sustainable while protecting local ecosystems.
Mr. Keegan Stephenson, Director of the Division of Agriculture, shared brief remarks on persons bringing in produce to Dominica.
As we know, Dominica has always been an agricultural country. We have always prided ourselves in our agriculture. Agriculture has always been the backbone of our economy, our GDP, from 17% GDP. You know, we have the goal right now to make agriculture contribute even more to our GDP, 700 million by 2030. So with that, we must and we have always protected our agriculture and our biodiversity. Apart from our agriculture, food is first, but also our lush biodiversity. And you know, as an island, the best way to protect your biodiversity from pests and disease and is whatever is not in, keep it out. Right? Prevention is better than cure. Right? So hence the reasons for plant protection and quarantine.
Ms. Loda explained why it is important to protect what feeds us and the importance of the quarantine officers.
Quarantine services play a crucial role in this process by inspecting imports and exports for pests and diseases, enforcing regulations and standards for plants and animals products, conducting surveillance and monitoring for early detection, implementing biodiversity protocols for stakeholders. By de-risking through quarantine operations, our country, Dominica, we are protecting agricultural industries and ecosystems, preventing economic losses from pests and diseases, ensuring compliance with international trade and agreements and standards, and of course last, safeguarding human health and the environment.
Dr. Centomay gave reasons why important permits are important.
Failure to declare any product of animal origin will result in immediate confiscation of the product and you may be fined. So if in doubt, declare. So I just want to let the general public know why we're doing this import permit is for your protection and to ensure that Dominican agriculture remains safe and free from pest and disease. I thank you.
Also at the press conference was Ms. Linessa Ferreira, Head Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit, Agriculture. She highlighted the requirement and procedure for importation of agricultural products. The session aims to ensure compliance with agricultural regulations, especially as Dominica prepares for its Independence 2025 celebrations. And there's a bold splash of color and culture now welcoming visitors to the Roseau Bayfront as Dominica officially unveils its brand new Dominica sign, a vibrant art installation marking the start of the 2025 tourist season. The project, a collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism and local creative studio Third Illusion Design, celebrates the heart and soul of the nature island. Each letter in the sign captures a piece of Dominica's story, its lush landscapes, rich heritage, and adventurous spirit, all brought to life through art, texture, and symbolism. Creative director Nicole Morrison says it's more than just a photo opportunity, it's a tribute to Dominica's identity and community pride. Every brushstroke, she says, represents the heart of Dominica, bold, colorful, and full of life. The installation reflects a growing commitment to weaving local artistry in the island's tourism experience, with the public invited to visit, snap photos, and share the moment across social media. Dominica's Bayfront has a fresh new face, and it's one that tells a powerful story. And finally, in local news, the Dominica Labour Party held the Rosie Douglas Memorial Lecture at the State House on Thursday evening. In a very moving speech, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines spoke about the life and legacy of the late revolutionary and former Prime Minister Roosevelt Rosie Douglas, emphasizing his deep connections and contributions to the labor movement in the Caribbean. He highlighted Douglas's dedication to solidarity, education, and community, tracing his journey from Dominica to Canada and back, and his rise to leadership in the Dominican Labour Party and as a prime minister. Influenced by figures like Marcus Garvey and C.L.R. James, Rose's work was rooted in the principles of universal education, social justice, and Christian values. His life is portrayed as a testament to the power of community, family, and the enduring impact of historical context on individual actions and achievements. Famed journalist who traveled with the former Prime Minister, Matthias Peltier Jr., called for a scholarship to be awarded in Rose's honor. Attorney at law and son of Roosevelt Douglas said that Prime Minister Skerritt has accepted to make the Rosie Douglas Lecture an annual event.
And regionally, tensions are rising between the U.S. and Venezuela. President Donald Trump has reportedly cut off all diplomatic contacts with Caracas, following frustration over President Nicolas Maduro's refusal to step down and Venezuela's rejection of U.S. drug trafficking claims. The move came after a call with Special Envoy Richard Grenell, who had been leading quiet negotiations since January. Those talks are now off the table, sidelined by hardliners like Marco Rubio and Stephen Miller, who are urging Trump to consider military strikes in Venezuela as part of the U.S. anti-drug operations. So far, Trump has not authorized land action, but officials say it's under consideration. Meanwhile, House Democrats have accused the administration of pushing for a regime change and warned against unilateral military action. There has been no response from Caracas as yet, and EmoNews will keep monitoring this developing story. And in more regional news, a major regional push is underway to tackle the Caribbean's growing sargassum seaweed crisis. At the 3rd EU-Caribbean Global Gateway Conference held in Grenada, leaders and experts moved from research to action, aiming to turn this environmental threat into economic opportunity. Backed by the European Union and its Global Gateway initiative, the plan focuses on cleaning coastlines, creating jobs, and developing new sargassum-based industries. 3 countries, Grenada, the Dominican Republic, and Mexico, have pledged to collect and process over 660,000 tons of seaweed between 2026 and 2027. The goal is to transform this coastal nuisance into a resource for innovation, clean energy, and local businesses. EU Commissioner Joseph Sikela called the crisis a chance for progress, saying sargassum could fuel regional growth if managed right. The next conference is set for Mexico as the EU and Caribbean partners work to scale up solutions and attract investments. Finally, on the regional scene, the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, CRFM, has signed its first bilateral agreement with the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. The signing took place in St. Kitts and Nevis during the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. The MOU, signed by CRFM Executive Director Dr. Mark Williams and OECS Director General Dr. Didacus Jules, will strengthen cooperation in fisheries management, the blue economy, safety at sea, and support for fisherfolk, particularly youth and women. Dr. Jules said the 2025-2028 agreement takes collaboration between the 2 organizations to a whole new level, focusing on resilience, research, and economic development. Earlier in September, the CRFM also signed a 5-year MOU with the University of the West Indies 5 Islands campus in Antigua and Barbuda to promote academic collaboration in areas such as blue economy development, climate change adaptation, and marine research. And internationally, in a major breakthrough after 2 years of devastating conflict, Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire agreement, marking the first phase of a peace initiative led by U.S. President Donald Trump. The deal includes a mutual halt to fighting, a partial Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, and the release of all remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The ceasefire is expected to take effect soon, pending final approval from Israel's government. Celebrations broke out on both sides as the agreement was announced. The war has claimed the lives of more than 67,000 Palestinians and left much of Gaza in ruins. Under the new accord, aid convoys carrying food and medical supplies will begin flowing into Gaza, where hundreds of thousands of displaced civilians are in urgent need. Hamas officials say they've received guarantees from the US and other mediators that the fighting is over. However, uncertainties remain, particularly over the final list of prisoners to be released and future governance of Gaza. These issues are part of a broader 20-point peace plan, which still has many hurdles ahead. While this government marks a significant step toward ending the violence, the path forward remains complex. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck off the southeastern coast of the Philippines Friday morning, shaking buildings and sending panicked residents into the streets. The quake hit off Mindanao Island, about 123 kilometers from Davao City, at a depth of 58 kilometers. At least one person has died after being trapped under rubble in Davao Oriental. A tsunami warning was briefly issued for the Philippines, Indonesia, and Palau, but was lifted by midday. Video showed chaotic scenes as people fled buildings, power lines swayed, and sirens bled across Davao. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said search and rescue teams are on the ground assessing the damage. The quake comes less than 2 weeks after a deadly 6.9 magnitude earthquake hit Cebu, killing over 70 people. The Philippines, located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, remains one of the world's most disaster-prone nations. And finally, on the international scene, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her unwavering fight for democracy in Venezuela. The Norwegian Nobel Committee praised Machado for keeping the flame of democracy burning amid a growing darkness, and for her efforts toward a peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. Machado, who has been in hiding since a disputed 2024 election, said the award belongs to an entire society fighting for freedom. Her candidacy in last year's election was blocked by President Nicolas Maduro's government, but she continued to mobilize citizens and document alleged election fraud. The Nobel Committee hailed her courage and leadership as a symbol of hope for millions of Venezuelans seeking democratic change. And EmoNews congratulates her on her Nobel Prize nod.
And that's all for international news this evening. Stay tuned for the sports segment after the short message.
5 chances, 2 draws a week. Endless excitement. This is not just a game, it's your game. Match 5.
Welcome to the sports segment. Beach soccer made a thrilling return to Barbados as the first ever Barbados Beach Soccer Championship kicked off at Brighton Beach last Sunday. Running through November 16, the tournament features 28 teams competing for over $20,000 in prizes. Opening day delivered excitement with the Sundown Ballers crushing Trident Spurs 9-2 and the Beach Blitzers dominating Island Fusion 7-3. Other big wins came from Sunset Chasers and Full Volley, while the Tiki Tacklers edged Bajan Heat in a penalty shootout after a 3-3 draw. Action continues every weekend across the island's West Coast beaches. At the State of the Tourism Industry Conference in Barbados, Cricket West Indies CEO Chris Dering called on regional tourism partners to share responsibility for sustaining West Indies cricket. Dering revealed that over the past 15 years, CWI spent more than US $200 million on air travel and hotel accommodation across the region, but received little to no sponsorship support from airlines or hotels. He expressed, "We've spent US $82.5 million on airlift over the last 15 years, but received $0 in sponsorship from airlines. Despite knocking on doors and primarily using one carrier, regional airlines are not pulling their weight. It is a one-sided relationship, and quite frankly, it is not fair to the development of our sport." He praised Sandals Resorts International as the only major tourism partner consistently supporting West Indies cricket. Dering emphasized that while tourism benefits greatly from cricket, shared investment is vital for the sport's future. The discussion formed part of the panel exploring the links between sports and tourism and sustainable development. And finally, in sports tonight, 3 schools participated in the Northeast District Primary Schools Independence Athletics Preliminaries at Londonderry. The results are as follows. Overall girls, Wesley Primary with 119 points, Wills Strathmore Stevens Primary 118 points, and Woodford Hill Primary 44 points. Overall boys, Wills Strathmore Stevens with 116 points, Wesley Primary 116 points, Woodford Hill Primary 72 points. Overall schools, Wesley Primary Schools coming first with 235 points, Wills Strathmore Stevens Primary 234 points, Woodford Hill Primary 116 points. And that's all for the sports segment this evening. Stay tuned for the weather report from the Dominica Meteorological Service after this short break.
People come well just for the cultural gala, yes. Time to show our cultural heritage as we face one another era of culture, yes. We could demonstrate our taste. Dress up in your work doing, dress up in your tech cassette, telling Kotoko to ring. People say, oh gosh, who are we? When we say Tim Basek, that means we give full respect to our cultural heritage, regardless of color, creed, or age. Ha! Boy. Hey, night. Epa. Look at Batabula to Boma. Look at Wule Tabula to Boma. Pakite music la champagne. Look at Batabula to Boma.
Good day to you. This is the weather broadcast from the Med Studio at GMIT for today, Friday, October 10th, 2025. We start off today by taking a look at the tropics, and near 20 degrees north, or about 140 miles to the north of the Northern Leeward Islands, we find a tropical storm Jerry, which has been affecting most of the Lesser Antilles over the past 12 to 24 hours. And moving up to the north in the north central Atlantic, we find subtropical storm Karen, which formed during the early hours of the morning. This system poses no threat to us here in the Lesser Antilles. Moving on now to today's satellite imagery. Across the Lesser Antilles, we find this moisture plume trailing the center of tropical storm Jerry. This is resulting in generally cloudy skies across the islands today. Behind the system, we find this area of dust plume, this hazy area, and this dust haze is expected to begin affecting parts of the Lesser Antilles tonight and into tomorrow. And off in the central tropical Atlantic, we find a tropical wave near 38 degrees west, and this wave is expected to begin affecting parts of the Lesser Antilles on Sunday and into Monday. So zooming a little closer to home today, we find that our skies across Dominica has been mainly cloudy to overcast, but these clouds have generally been mid to upper level clouds, on the very intense precipitation bearing clouds. And as we move on to our radar imagery, we see that it indicated that across the island, precipitation was generally just light rain or periods of light rain throughout the morning so far. More intense showers have been occurring over the open waters of the Caribbean Sea. So for this afternoon, we expect these conditions to persist with an increased chance of showers during most of the afternoon and into tonight. Therefore, the flood watch was extended to 6 p.m. So we're asking those of you in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks to continue to be vigilant and to exercise caution. We are maintaining a yellow alert for conditions into tonight, as mostly cloudy skies are expected with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures are expected to be down to about 24 degrees Celsius in coastal communities and 21 degrees Celsius in the interior. Over the next 3 days, tomorrow Saturday, we do expect some weak instability to be maintained across the area, resulting in mostly cloudy skies and a few showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. We do expect the area to remain hazy, so those of you with respiratory sensitivities do take precautions to minimize complications. Dust haze is likely to linger into Sunday, and partly cloudy to cloudy skies are expected as moisture ahead of the tropical wave begins to affect the area. So some scattered showers are expected on Sunday, and this is likely to linger into Monday, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with scattered showers. However, the dust plume is expected to be mostly out of the area by then. Temperatures are expected to remain generally warm throughout the weekend and into Monday, with daytime highs peaking to 33 degrees Celsius. Nighttime lows are expected to be down to about 24 degrees Celsius in our coastal communities. Winds are expected to be generally out of the east-southeast through east, about 30 kilometers per hour. Following Tropical Storm Jerry today, our seas are now down to about 10 feet on the east coast and about between 5 to 7 feet on the west coast, and we do expect the sea conditions to continue to improve as Jerry continues to pull further away from the region. So for the afternoon, we do have a small craft advisory and high surf advisory in effect. However, by tonight into Saturday, we do expect our conditions to be down to about 7 feet on the eastern coast and back to our green alert where no threat is anticipated. And we do expect seas up to about 7 feet to persist into Sunday, before waves peaking to about 5 feet along the eastern coast by Monday. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:56 a.m. and will set at 5:47 p.m. The first high tide tomorrow will be at 8:04 a.m. and the first low tide at 1:37 a.m. For updated information, you can join us in our WhatsApp channel. You can gain access by scanning this QR code or visit our Facebook or Instagram platforms at Dominica Met. We are still in the hurricane season. To continue to stay informed and to be prepared. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time. Thank you for viewing EmoNews package for October 10th, 2025. I am your presenter, So Anna Benjamin.
And I'm Rick Francis. Don't forget, cultural festivities happening this weekend on Saturday in Grand Bay and on Sunday in Pebush. With that said, bonsoir.